Glad to see. There we go. Boom. We're getting so quick.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and mouse strain gene stealers to that 6+++ show. I am your host, Tom. I promised a party. We will deliver. This is going to be raucous. This is going to use up what little remains of my vocal cords and that of my dear teammates. If you are uninitiated, then get initiated. Let me initiate you, anoint you in the ways of 6++. We are a bunch of nerds. We're bang average players. We play Warhammer 40k, and we're here to talk about it tonight. When we've been to a big event, one of the biggest, the London Grand Tournament. We've had a very good time playing Warhammer, losing a bunch of games, winning some games, having a general good time, and we're going to share all the juicy details with you, as well as comment on the state of the game. Spoilers, quite healthy. Not as healthy for Sisters players as they hoped, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Do shout us out in the chat. Let us know what you're up to. It'd be great to hear. Are you building, painting, hobbying? Let us know. I'm going to introduce my cast of players. I've got a whole bunch of miscreants for you tonight. We're going to do a little bit of self-promotion, as is our way. We're very good at self-promotion, possibly the best. And then we'll talk LGT. So I'm going to start where I like to start, with my dear leader, Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm finally getting over my cold, which decided to nail me over the weekend. Paul James and myself were slightly worse for wear. So enjoy that, all of LGT. We were super spinners, so everyone else has got a cold. Suppose.
There was actually someone in a different chat who messaged after they got home saying, "Is anyone else coming down with something?" I was like, I bet Chris gave you that.
I was extremely quiet in that chat.
You are welcome. But yeah, so I'm finally coming out the other side of that since like last Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah. How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, I'm good. Yesterday was a fairly droopy day, but today was good. I have built an Agrodon Lancer. Look, there's a little guy on a dinosaur. Because I have my next game of AOS tomorrow, and I decided after my last game that I need something that does damage. So I'm going to see if that
actual damage.
Going to see if that helps.
It's overrated.
So that's been a fun day. And I recorded a video today all about deployment and how not to lose in deployment. So that was fun. Back on the content trail as well. I noticed you're wearing a particularly attractive-looking WTC shirt.
I've got my Luxembourg shirt finally.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Tom. Bringing it back.
You are more than welcome. Chris was like, "You're not wearing." I was wearing the one I got, and Chris was like, "You're not wearing mine, are you?" And I was like,
"That was just when we got back."
That is completely something that I would do. And B, no, I'm not. How did? But yeah, I actually think they're one of the nicest shirts off the WTC. Those Luxembourg ones, they're really beautiful.
Second place to France. Having seen Naz wear the French one at the weekend, I was like,
"It's good, isn't it?" Yeah, I saw Alex Harrison wearing his as well.
They're beautiful.
Not wearing their England shirts.
No,
unrelated.
I'm also joined tonight, and you've heard his dulcet tones already, by my sensei, the lovely Scrivo. How are you doing, John?
I'm really good. I've stopped sneezing out red paint because yesterday I decided I'd spray so much terrain in the shop door, like back doors, because it was raining. I was like, "This will be fine." And then until about lunchtime, I'd sneeze and I was like, "Oh, bright red." But I'm not worried because it was paint. Because I'm painting up some kill team terrain with Mephiston red spray because
it's looking very good.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. I want to paint the thing I hate.
Got some kill team hype. John has just posted off a bunch of kill team stuff to me because I've ordered the kill team release box from his shop, and another kill team is in there as well, aren't they, John? Because I'm going to keep the Gene Stealer theme running.
Yeah,
and try the
I played them
cover.
blind drunk once and almost won with them, so I think you'll do well with them.
Nice. All I know is you get to take a Patriot, which feels far too big and dangerous for kill team. So I'm like, yeah, that feels outrageous. So that should be really, really fun. You can hear him dying of lurgy in the background. It is our loosest of cannons. It is Mr. Ed Watts. Ed, how are you doing, sir?
Chris, I hate you. I've got another cold. I literally just got over the first one. So I think I'm well all right to hate this guy now, right? Look how happy he is. Look how well he is in his Luxembourg shirt, handsome.
He's passed it on.
On Saturday night, you shouldn't have been kissing so much. That's all I'm going to say.
Listen. It was Saturday night. It's the only time we're allowed to do this socially acceptably.
It's the team social.
It's how we bond.
What happens at the team social is talked about on Tuesday in front of all of our viewers, and that's we know that
the raucous party that it was. Jeepers.
it actually did get more out of hand than some of our socials. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We had to tell someone off. It was amazing.
Yeah, we did. We issued some disciplinary warnings against some of our younger players. Speaking of which, one of our younger miscreants is here tonight. The lovely Jack Asher. Jack, are you sobered up now?
I'm all good. I mean, I was pretty good till about 2 p.m. Sunday. That's when it sort of hit me like a ton of bricks.
It was when I was talking to you on Sunday, and you were telling me about stuff that I'd been sat next to you whilst it happened. And was in fact the person who had the conversation with you and done the thing you were telling me about. I was like, I'm not sure how good Jack's memory of Saturday night is.
Game 3, I remember what happened. I played against a Stomper, but apart from that,
did you kill the Stomper? That's the question.
I think I shot it once and was like, nah, I'm going to do nothing to it, and just ran away. I just felt like an appropriate decision.
There's a certain great unclean one I should have done that with, but I'm stubborn. We learn our lessons the hard way. All right, I'm going to shout some people out in the chat, and then we'll get into it. So Pickleaxe is here. I hope the party vibes are suitably to your taste, Pickleaxe. Keep on trucking with those, Eldar. Proud of you. Zito is in. It was actually very nice to meet Zito in person at the LGT. Sam Dunn as well. Kurikama's in. Aidan Brocklehurst is in. Very well, Aidan. I'm taking names as you always do this weekend. I hope you got your Team England application, your new miscreant. And then Christopher Richardson is working on his paint comp entry. And he's not told anyone yet what he's submitting. Ola Bankson is also in. Goodness, it's a raucous chat. Keep on piping up. Keep on letting us know we're here. Shout us out any questions. Let us know. Also, Mark Pocock. Thank you, Mark Pocock, by the way, for giving me a laser pointer thingy for finding angles on the table. Because I was commenting either on this show or in Discord about how I didn't have one and should get one. Mark just turns up to my game at LGT, hands me one and says, I heard you wanted one, and then walked off. So that was incredibly kind of him. Really, really appreciate that. Joseph Reed is in the chat and knows he's in trouble. In the chat, is he still in the team? As of yet, undecided. We've got things to work out there. And there's more talk of playground flirting. Martin Dorr is also in. Goodness gracious, you're all here. It's going to go off. Very, very exciting. Okay, so a little bit of self-promotion before we go into the main event. So what are the major self-promotions that we need to do right now, Chris?
Well, we've got a tournament coming up, guys.
Yes, we do.
And tickets go on sale this month. How exciting. October the 15th. Tickets are going to go on sale. If you're not yet following our event page on Facebook, then you can see it linked on our general Facebook page. But yeah, we're going to start releasing more information. We've actually made quite a lot of progress in just all the fun little nitty gritty things. Just today, we've got some more things that we're going to put in the in the goodie bag. We're getting more ideas about different prizes we can have, and that's only going to keep on getting more and more before we, in fact, give you guys so much good stuff that we end up out of pocket. That's how we're going to end up at this rate.
Yeah, there's a risk we just sink all our money in.
As I said before, we've already had enough interest to sell out the event. That's genuinely really exciting. So we'll be giving you more information on how you buy those tickets in the coming couple of weeks.
It's counting down now.
Counting down. Other than that, we've been doing some videos. What videos we've been doing, can't really remember. But we've done some good videos, and they've got some amount of views. We've got
stuff about sisters. We've got stuff about UK.
Ed did some videos, didn't you, Ed? You did. What to do when you go to your first tournament.
Yes.
You
10
did
tips for a bit of advice.
Yeah, you did a sisters one about his list, which he'll be able to reveal to you all about how he won the LGT with that.
Don't remind me.
Listen, I
lost the game. It's sad. It was actually, that was fun.
We have got things coming up. So I'll have my LGT review. Well, I will be, crying, And
Me too, mate.
Tom
A lot
too.
of sad, lonely event reports
Tom's
coming
got
up.
some GSC stuff coming up, right?
Yeah, very much on the GSC hype. I've noticed our Discord for GSC has also started piping up. I think helped along by the fact that me and Danny Porter are both getting very excited in there. So what I thought I would do is get Danny Porter out for an interview talking about Biosanctic Brood Surge, because he had a great run on the melee detachment this week. Now, the melee one, when I reviewed the book for Goonhammer, that was by far the coolest one. I think it's awesome. I wasn't convinced it could really function. Turns out it can, so that's exciting. So you'll be getting the download from Danny all about that, which will be out next week. I'm going to run you through Outlander Claw, and if you want to learn how to play that just a bit worse than Innes Wilson, I can help you out. And then I'm going to do a few fun things as well, and I might even drag Jack Asher along for the ride, because he's also going to be playing GSC soon. Do some unit tier lists and bits and bobs like that as well.
Right
So
there,
lots of GSC coming. And once I've decided exactly what my 3 armies for doing England application stuff are, I will basically just chain out stuff on all 3 of those for the next few months, and keep you all very well fed. I think those are the main things in the pipeline. Scrivo is going to be doing something on Imperial Agents very soon as well.
And we're going to as allies.
Yeah, wonderful. And we're going to dip a toe into Kill Team, and if we enjoy it enough, we might make content about that as well. So all sorts coming out. And just a little shout out for those of us in the Discord doing the community painting challenge. Obviously, this is closing in 2 days' time. It is still very much joinable, so if you want to get involved, go to the Discord, find the Community Painting Challenge tab, and follow the details there, and you too can get involved. It's a bunch of people from our community painting one infantry 40k model to compete. We were doing this in our own team, and that's going to be finalising in the next couple of days. And I thought, why not let all our lovely viewers and listeners do it as well? And actually, I've been sent some wonderful photos. Some really cool models been done. A surprising amount of one of my favourite factions in there. We'll reveal that in the future. We'll do a very special little video, possibly a live stream, to really focus in and showcase all the lovely things you painted. It's not too late to get involved if you'd like to. John C says, "Hey chaps, glad I could catch a live stream. Amazing to have you here, John C. Really cool. Hope you're doing well." Okay, that's all the self-promotion. Wasn't that good? Quick, effective.
Davey, King of the Pin.
Oh, goodness gracious, it wasn't
time.
everything. I even wrote this down.
You write it down.
It's in my notes. It's at the top. So, Davey, he's this guy. He's from the north. He lived in Spain. Really nice. And he has done a TTS league for us. And the final, the ending, the big finale between Davey playing Tyranids and Josie playing lots of Jackals is happening this week on Thursday. It's going to be in our Discord at about 7 UK time. So if you like loitering in Discord whilst other people play Warhammer, and I know you will do because I see you in there.
Whilst muted.
Okay? I see you in there. Yeah, I preferably whilst muted. Do honour the etiquette and go through the proper channels. If you'd like to watch that, what will surely be an epic between, I don't know, a ton of bugs and a ton of little, quite muscly guys. And Davey and Josie, obviously, 2 wonderful pilots and very fun people to watch play 40k. It's worth saying as well. Both a real laugh. Then come and get involved. That'd be good. And then, of course, it won't be long until we do a winter TTS league and King of the Pin keeps on rolling. So if that sounds like something you'd like to be involved in, and if giving us money sounds like something you'd like to do, then you should sign up and become a YouTube member if you're not already. We've got 40 now. We'd like some more. It's a good time. It's helping incentivize and keep this whole machine working. So come sign up as a YouTube member, get involved, come and play in our next TTS league. It was a lot of fun, and it will surely be even sillier the next time out. And obviously, keep funding all this wonderful content. And if you haven't today, do hit like and subscribe. I'm told it helps. I'm sure it does. I don't fully understand it. I'd love it if you did it. And then also, if you leave us comments, let us know how wrong we are. Tell people when the real stuff starts. Spoilers in a minute. All this boring intro stuff, no good for anyone.
I always love that one. Love that one.
I love that one. But a comment is a comment, Chris, and that's where we're at. Sometimes it's the only one.
We're like beings,
You just grit your teeth and go, "That's engagement. That's all good. It all counts." And so, if you could leave us comments, that'd be awesome. And thank you, Brain Seller, for the shout out. It's actually just seeing everyone excited painting models has been awesome. I have also been excited painting models. The model I've actually done for the painting challenge is not the one I set out to do. But isn't that how life works? Life comes at you fast, right? Sideways. And I do really like this little model. It's going to be going out to a narrative event very, very soon as well.
I know what kind of model it is now.
I think
I've
you've got a guess. You've got a good guess as to who that might be, Scrib.
Yeehaw, there's a snake in my boot.
Could be. Not impossible. Not impossible. All right. So it's grand. It's a tournament, and it's in London. Can anybody guess what event it is?
Manchester?
Oh, you were so close.
The Cabalis campaign.
LVO.
Nottingham?
Calabria campaign, I think.
What?
Gladstone?
Well, you've excelled yourselves, lads.
Comic-Con?
Cardiff Carnage? Cardiff Carnage?
That's
grand.
6 plus GT.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's the
Harry Potter
London Grand Tournament was what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
You were
I tried to
close.
delete my brain, you know.
So, what we're going to be talking about tonight is a whole bunch of different things because we had several players in the fight at LGT. We had a really good time as well, and we met a bunch of you, so we want to shout out that as well. We will talk a little bit about what we took and how we found it, how our games went. We've done this a few times, and we will be making event reports for the armies anyway, so we're not going to go into it in too much depth tonight. But we also have a very exciting thing because our very own Scrivo took on a position of some responsibility this year. Scriv, do you want to start by telling us what you did at the London Grand Tournament before we get into this competitive nonsense, all these tryhards struggling to win?
Oh, we've just lost our viewers.
There was tryhards at this event. Spoilers.
Oh, was there?
He's
anyone who might currently be in the chat?
He's
Yeah.
there.
Very good. Tell us about it, Scriv.
So last year there was the first of the narrative events at LGT. A lovely guy called Mark ran it. It was a very complicated event with like boarding action stuff done on the side and all these different things. So this year he was planning to do this whole thing that was quite simple. Each person is given an alpha squad on top of their army. So they get 10 models that have the profile of intercessors, none of the special rules. They've each got a combi bolter. The leader's got a nemesis power weapon thing. And then each game, they gain new abilities. By the end of it, they've got a 4-up invuln, 4-up feel no pain. It's bonkers. And on top of that, you're playing
It's like the old
missions.
Chaos Knights book. It just gets worse and worse as it goes. I like it.
And then the missions get more and more bonkers. So instead of the
No, they
primary
don't,
mission
because that
just
first
being...
one was crazy.
Oh, Tom. So the first mission, if your units were on an objective...
Wholly on an objective.
So I encourage some players
following
that
an
could have
emergency
abused it.
FAQ.
Had to roll, and 1 to 5, that was the objective they landed on. They needed to be as close to the objective center as possible when they redeployed, even if it meant they're on engagement range. So I had it, because I was playing as the ringer, I had the lion forest walking across the board game 1. It was fantastic. Bonkers, but fantastic. If you think that's mad, game 2, all of your ranged weapons of your units became extra attacks, 1 attack, and were melee. So
no
I
guns.
was punching
No
people with
guns.
melter rifles
So good.
and killing them. It was bonkers but fun. What was fun is it was GSC. I think I was doing it too, and they just kept getting back up again. It was awful. And then mission 3 was.
If you are on an objective, you take mortal wounds.
It was the bombs.
Oh,
it was like a bombs.
My opponent didn't roll it a single time. Not at all.
Didn't
I
even
lost.
play it.
I
Yeah,
lost.
forgot. I mean, I have an excuse. He doesn't.
I lost more of my models to that than my opponent killed.
Wow.
And then round 4 was
It was us.
quite a boring mission. I had to play a horrible guy. Real try hard. What was the mission for that one? That was
Stealing characters.
yes. So you rolled, and on a 1 to 5, you stole the opponent's character. On a 6, they got an extra psychic attack, which was this really bonkers
that's
ranged
fun.
weapon. I found a way to stop it. Was you put your stuff in vehicles or in deep strike, and then they're not on the battlefield to interact with it. Or
Narrative events.
you're in combat with someone, and they can't steal the lion off you because he's in combat with you. Because you had to shoot your friendly units, but they're not a valid target if you're in combat.
Oh man.
So I was gaming it; it was brilliant. But no,
The age-old combo of fun, interesting new rules and people gaming.
trying to
and breaking
minimise the impact because it really flipping hurt. But what as a result happened is there was 10 guys that all turned up, very very mixed armies. Like one guy had First Company Space Marines supporting a Warhound Titan. You don't often see that on a battlefield, let alone survive a few rounds of combat, or go toe to toe with a stomper-led dread mob. So as a result, you got to see some lists that you probably wouldn't normally see.
Yeah.
The guys were all just wanting to have a bit more of a laugh. They weren't sitting there just chaining beers. They just wanted to roll dice and have a laugh and still have a good game. And it seemed like a good success. But what I found fascinating over the weekend, the amount of people that didn't know there was even a narrative event.
Yeah, I think it's
And
something
that
that
broke my heart.
hopefully,
might
fingers
change.
crossed, it
Yeah.
might change in the near future, right? If you continue to be entrusted with responsibility. But very well done. Obviously, we know that our own Jack Asher was representing Six of Us as our sole advocate of the narrative event. Jack, do you want to perhaps tell people a little bit about what you took and how you prepared for a narrative event?
So I was lured to it. Scrolling the UKTC events page, I saw there was a narrative event. It was like, it's interesting. I've scribbled around them before. They've been great fun. I thought I'd click on it, read the rules, read about the Alpha Squad, and I was like, it's fantastic. It was a challenge, encourage you to kit bash. And main army recently has been Night Lords. And having read the Night Lords trilogy, I, couldn't help but choose them as my sort of Alpha Squad. So I kit bashed 10 models to be Talos and his friends of First Claw. And they led my army from the back for the event.
Those audiobooks, go and do it because you will want to play Night Lords afterwards. They are very cool in there.
So played the Night Lords detachment, Dread Talons, Army Rule, Battle Shock with
It's
people.
absolute shit. It's so bad.
I ran Jump Lord, I ran the Demon Prince to be exalted from the books, I ran Raptors, I ran Warp Talons, and then I ran the good stuff as well. Because I needed something to do heavy lifting, and I'm glad I had it. Otherwise, I would have lost every single game.
What we found from our discussions about the Night Lord's attachment was the less Night Lord stuff you put in it, the better it gets. Right? You just have to keep putting in tanks and Accursed Cultists. But you found a happy balance, I think.
Yeah, I only took one unit of Accursed. I think if I was going to any other event, it'd be minimum 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the other thing we missed, Jack, actually. The mission where you could steal the characters, they couldn't attach to units. So the Dark Commune and his Accursed Cultists were separate, which was really useful, right?
Oh, so my Accursed Cultists losing in run, losing advance charge. Yeah, they did so much damage.
+1 to hit and wound.
My Inner Circle Companions were so good.
Killed most of the squad.
Oh, mate. Unbelievable.
And then Lion made a lovely 9-inch charge, which was great. Loved that for me, for the Accursed. No, it was a really fun event. I really enjoyed it. Very tempted to go again next year. Hopefully, I'd quite like the missions probably to be written a bit more coherently. Obviously, the emergency FAQs, because I was like, something needs to change. I'm going to cause problems here.
Yeah, I was watching Jack just solve these missions in brutal fashion with John there, and just finding problems that needed fixing very quickly.
So for the last mission, you had to get your home objective and take it to your opponent's back line. And basically that unit had to move it. We realised that the Necron player could put someone in a plane. The plane could then just boop across and just finish it. So I made it so everyone had to use their Alpha Squad. So you had suddenly these Alpha Squads that have got all these extra buffs just trawling through, and it was just these 2 ships in the night going either side of the board.
Mate.
They look up and it's playing.
Yeah.
Didn't have all the extra buffs.
They just wanted it more.
Because you meant to roll a dice at the end of every game for buffs for your chosen character and for your Alpha Squad. I was only rolling for my chosen character, so my Alpha Squad was missing 4 different buffs that I hadn't given them. And I was wondering why. It's like, they're quite good, but why is his T5? That doesn't make sense. Close to winning, lost the very final game to a single guy from the opponent's Alpha Squad.
You're on the cusp of greatness. So close.
And you ruined our clickbait because we were obviously going to have this show title as 6++ win LGT.
I got ruined the last game as well.
It would be
40 points.
Oh,
yeah, it's a real shame because all the headlines were there. We were going to have an LGT winner. We were going to be able to spin all this content about how to win the LGT. We were going to have you were going to set you up with your own coaching program, Jack. It was all going to get really, really out of hand.
I think we had enough people in the main event that one of them could have taken it down. It's a very competitive lists there.
Yeah, that's true. I think we should see this as actually you got closer to greatness than most of us did. So actually, we should be very, very grateful to you.
Top 30% of the event. I was third.
I was 6th and I was the ringer, Jack. It's nothing special.
Nonetheless, it sounds like a very good time was had, and the game was pushed to the limits of what makes any sense, which is what narrative usually does.
Yes.
And obviously, we're very much looking forward to your own personal narrative event, Warzone Faustus, in a couple of weeks, John. So I guess hopefully you'll have some lessons from this to put into practice.
Yes, less is more, is what I would say.
Good. So shout out to Schmeichel in the chat. Schmeichel 1987 asking how we pronounce Pluse. Now, we pronounce it the Pluse. We call ourselves the Pluse. Pluse, rhymed with loose. I don't know when that started. I don't fully understand.
A long time ago.
It's just slipped into our parlance. It's very much a part of how we do business now. It doesn't make an awful amount of sense, but just go with us on that one. I promise you it's all going to be okay.
Quickly, I've seen Alex has commented saying, well done all this weekend, and thank you, Ed, for one of the most stressful games of my life. There was also one of the most stressful games of my life, by the way, Alex. But well-deserved win there, mate. Fantastic you made it to the finals. You did an absolutely amazing run over the weekend. So
this is Alex Fowler in the chat, and it's definitely worth a shout out because I've not seen him up at the very sort of top of a big super major like that in recent times, but I have seen him doing very well at a bunch of other events, and it feels like all that work's really paying off, and he's doing incredibly well. So, and getting all the way to the semis and playing Liam VSO, I can only imagine how that feels when you're the one in that position. I think that's a hell of a run. Really, really impressive. And as we'll get to a bit later, it's nice to see someone who's really mained and dedicated themselves to a faction get rewarded as well. And that was actually a running theme of the event, but we'll come to that a little bit later. It's also worth shouting out Gurukama, who's just become a member. Thank you so much, Gurukama. Follow Gurukama's example. Become a member, get involved, sign up as a YouTube member, guys. Help fund this wonderful mad enterprise of ours. We would really, really appreciate it. Shout out to Ben Pierce, who's in the chat, struggling to spell as far as I can see.
It's because he's typing with Crocs on his hands.
Yeah. We're going to be having the lovely Ben Pierce on for our next show, so really excited to have you on, Ben. Cannot wait. It's going to be a great time. And Connor Lewis says, new here, but been listening on the way back for the past month of podcasts on my way to work in the mornings and really enjoying. Can't wait to get involved in this community. That is amazing. Really glad you're enjoying it. Really glad to have you here. It only gets weirder from here on.
Join the Discord if you haven't already, Connor.
Yes, that's a great shout, Connor. If you want to get in the Discord, there's be links and everything else, and you can go. There's tons of faction conversations. Now, Connor has a question about Moth. So before we go any further, basically there was a time when we were doing a show and we were doing a faction tier list, I think, and Ed was attacked, weren't you, Ed?
Yeah, I was violated.
But what about the moth, Ed?
It violated me. It was awful. I left the back door open because it was one of those warm nights, and a bat. I say
Never leave your back door open, mate. Jeez.
I know. Next to a moth, I left the back door open, and a moth flew in the size of a bat, and it scared me quite significantly. I was trying to keep my cool, but I was not very good.
He was battle shocked.
Essentially, Ed really got the fear put up him by this moth, and I decided on the hoof that the moth was going to win the tier list because I'd never seen any army in the game to stress Ed that much. So we announced the moth as the winner of the tier list. This was the same tier list where we predicted Drukhari to be S tier and started a whole lot of internet hoo-ha without really meaning to.
That wrong.
We were having some fun with it. But essentially, the Moth has its own section in our Discord where people talk about the rules that Codex Moth might have. Because it actually ended up merging into another joke that Davey and I once had coming back from an event where we were joking about Codex Wasp. And I had the idea for this Codex where there was just one big bug that cost 2,000 points, and that was the book. And we were like, okay, well, obviously Moth is this, because Moth is this whole big deal. And that, Connor, is what that's about. And if that hasn't explained it to you, then I don't know what will.
You have to be there.
What the episode? Is it 95? If it's a tier list one, was it?
It's a tier list. It's the wildly speculative tier list. And I think the Moth entry, the Moth enters just about when we're talking about Death Guard, and the whole fabric of the show is completely torn out from there
Yeah.
on out. And
It
it's just
assaulted
really,
me.
really
It was awful. It was awful.
S. Michael asked, if one is from South London, is there a nearby Pluse stronghold to join? Well, the Pluse have players in Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire area, and often can be found at venues like Darkfire Cafe and Tabletop Republic. I'll shout both of those out. But the Pluse also have cells in Cambridge area as well. So that's where to go. Cambridge, Edyside, or Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, just outside of London. Those are the main locales we can be found. But we're always on the move around the country playing in all sorts of events. So just seek us out and get involved. As indeed, before we go any further, we've talked about these narrative losers. I'm going to talk about the real boys now with their competitive failures. But before we do any of that, I think it's worth just shouting out all of the lovely people who came and said hello and got involved today. I don't know if you wanted to say any words on that, Chris, before we go any further.
Yeah, I think, like we've spoken about it before, right? Where it's you put out the videos, you get your comments, you don't really think about the fact that actually there are a bunch of people watching and like enjoying the content. So it actually is very nice when people come up, and there were multiple times where people just come up and like tap me on the shoulder and just be like, "Oh, I just wanted to say I really like the videos you did about like the UKTC or whatever," and like thank you so much. One guy was like, "I was watching them last night on the big TV screen, recapping the missions and stuff," and I have literally no idea any of your names, but thank you so much. It genuinely.
I was like, I'm going to note them all down, and I started, and I was like, there's just honestly so many people saying hello. It's never been as wild as it was this time. We had so many people coming and saying nice things, so many people giving us like genuine encouragement and shouting out particular videos that they liked. We saw some people from the boot camp that we did, a couple of the players that we taught at that, and it just, I don't know, it really felt like a whole lot of different things were coming together, and that was really, really cool to have. It was lovely having a big photo out on the field, which I remembered I was doing 3 minutes before I was supposed to be there. just about managed to make it to that,
and then forgot Fozzie.
I did forget the photo of Fozzie. Fozzie from Australia wanted to be in the photo, so we printed out a photo of him. I almost lost it, found it, brought it back. Jobs are good, really, really good. So again, can't stress enough, guys. It was so lovely to have so many of you sort of chatting away, getting involved. Nice to be following the progress of so many around the community as well. I think a few of you played. I know that Zito played against Connor in one of the games. They had an amazing game apparently, and so I think it was really, really cool to see. Very, very good. John C says, "I'll be honest, I wondered if I knew Tom from uni a long time ago, but maybe I've seen him in the cafe." Maybe you did, John C. We'll find out. We'll have to solve that mystery. I was up to all sorts of really useful, positive things at that time, so it'd be cool to talk with you about it. I am sure that'll be really fun. Right, tryhards, LGT competing. We're going to talk about our runs now. Where do we want to start, boys?
At the bottom.
All right, let's take us.
Take us away!
Absolutely vicious from John, who wasn't even in the pool. I
didn't lose any games at the GT Super Major, did I? Didn't play any.
Obviously, you're doing this in an event report form, so you don't need to go too in depth. But take us through.
I've made my notes. Don't worry. No. Obviously, I will be doing. I Am the Hammer on which is my Grey Knights show. I'll be doing that, so I will. If you're wanting to hear about the games from like a Grey Knight or matchup or army specific approach, I'll go more into detail on this. So I won't go too much into detail here. Don't you fear? But yeah, I went.
He will, guys. He always does.
Yeah.
He's got
strap yourselves in, boys. So I struggled a lot to build my army for this event. I had a few different army or list design choices, and eventually I made the biggest mistake of the entire competition, which was my list design, which was I tried to build a list that could take on everything. So I had lists which I felt more comfortable with, and in the end I made a decision because I didn't want to go into the event going, oh, if I match up into like a good like Thousand Suns player or like whatever, or Demons or whatever, I just can't win this game. I didn't want to be in that situation. So what I did was I built a list that gave me tools to handle every matchup. The problem was it weakened the list and didn't have a clear focus to it. It did a bit of everything, but it didn't do anything specifically well. It therefore meant that I had to play the list really well. I had to understand the matchups well. I had to play the mission really well. And spoilers, I didn't do that. And so things didn't go very well. My excuse would be that I was very ill. The fact that Paul James was also very ill and went 4-1 is completely beside the point. But so game one, I played into Lockie from Australia, who was here for the Invitational. He played in the Invitational the day before. He was playing Votan. I hadn't played that mission. I hadn't played into Votan before, so that was like quite a fun experience. Felt I played it quite well. Picked one side of the board, shut it down. Then he kind of. I waited till he's dropped his big Terminator brick down on the other one side of the board. He killed like half of my paladins, and I was like, I reckon my paladins can take those Terminators. And then he's like, it's not worth finding out. So I'm going to go to the other side of the board where those Terminators are now going to get to not do anything. I got to go second in that. Yeah, I got to go second in that game, which was nice because I let him get a couple of terraforms off. He had a little bit of a prime advantage. I was like, boom, secret mission. You literally can't stop this because your battle line's dead and mine can teleport at the end. And I was really proud of myself in this game because I
This was a big
really
scout.
a close eye on the score as well. Like the primary, I was constantly counting the primary. Like, do I sacrifice this unit to shut down 5 or 4 off his primary, whatever? I was really constantly ticking over on the primary. So that was good. I won that 88-76. Next game was against Lockie's friend, who'd come from Australia for 3 weeks with his mate, and I played his mate. Andrew, he was on guard, and he had 3 Rogal Dawns, 3 tank commanders, 3 chimeras, and some infantry. And Grey Knights don't really kill those sorts of things. Andrew had quite a very simple game plan, which was he was going to drive his tanks to the middle of the board and shoot me, and I had quite a simple game plan, which was I was going to hide and not let him shoot me. And my game plan won out. He was the quickest I've ever finished a game. The game was, I don't know, like an hour and a half. And still I finished at the same time as some of the other guys. And Tom's like, yeah, I'm done. It's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm like, what the fuck? We literally played this. I was like hammering dice. Like at the end of turn 3, he had a Rogal Dawn and 2 infantry left. And I had to keep them alive, because it was Purge the Foe, so I could get my kills and kill wars. I was like whizzing through the dice. I was like, I'm going to finish. I'm going to be so quick. And then like Tom and Ed were waiting for me. I was like, you bastards. So yeah, I won that 144. Feeling pretty good about myself. I'm playing good Warhammer. There's
You were playing
200.
great.
There's 200 undefeated people here. I'm playing well. Here we go. Then Ben Jones. Got Ben Jones. Love Ben Jones. Ben Jones is like one of the nicest guys you could play.
He's very good at Warhammer.
Oh, he's so good at Warhammer. But
He's pretty good.
I was like, it's Ultramarines. I'll be fine. Like, he's got Eradicator brick. He's got an Aggressor brick. He's got some trash. I reckon I can make a game of this. This is going to be close. It was not close. It was quarter deployment, and he has 5 infiltrators. And what those 5 infiltrators do is sit across the his home field L and say, "You can't come near my deployment zone with your deep strike shenanigans." And what that meant was, as Grey Knights, I then had to play from like the front rather than being able to create the space behind. Meanwhile, it's taken hold. He's got all these cheap, trashy units which are like holding the side objectives and just scoring. And I have to shove a bit more out to deal with them, and then I'll lose it. I forgot to mention he had 3 Vindicators as well, which were just parked in the middle. And again, if I want to try and kill a Vindicator, it takes quite a lot of work. This game kind of... Ben and I get on really well. It was lovely and chill, but at the same time, it was quite tense for the first like 3 turns. It was like we were really trying to focus, and he was obviously really working hard to scream me out and stuff. And there was just this key. Well, I say key moment. He always had the edge, I think, but there was this moment where I had engage and assassinate. I sent the paladins out to the middle to kill Vindicator, the Eradicators, and an Apothecary, and some interceptors went out to kill some jump pack assault guys. And instead what happened was I left the Vindicator on 1 wound, I left the Eradicators on 1 wound, I left the Apothecary on 1 wound, and the interceptors killed 2 jump pack guys and then all died. And because of that, the Aggressor brick then went, oh, we're going to wander out to the centre and beat up your paladins. And all my paladins died. So that was that, and I got annihilated. 160, nice, like not 100, 99, 64.
Oh, you took that point off him, mate.
No, I did, mate. You're absolutely right. I did. So you know what? It was a bit frustrating because he just completely shut me down. Like he just completely. We spoke about it
Yeah.
afterwards. I was like, "What could you have done? Like, what do you think I could have done different?" He was like, "Don't know." So it needed to be a much better Grey Knights player than myself to work it out. Funnily enough, he did then lose to Grey Knights Sunday morning, which made me feel really good about myself. My only saving grace here.
That's so good. You hadn't told me that.
I only found out yesterday. The saving grace is it's Marcus Hinson, who was on Canis Rex and Six Dread Knights, so it's a
Oh,
completely different
that's a
list.
very different. That's a very
And
different Grey
Marcus
Knights.
did
Yeah.
say he got extremely lucky to win that. Like Ben failed like a battle shock, otherwise Ben would have won. That sort of thing. So anyway, moving swiftly on. So I was a bit deflated about that, but I was like, you know what, is what it is. I felt hopeless in that game. Then I played Jakari. Now, I'm regularly told by my teammates that Grey Knights just beat Jakari. So therefore, I put myself under a lot of pressure to beat Jakari. I've only ever played Jakari once, Grey Knights, which I lost. That was to Jack Type. I played Jason. Jason was genuinely lovely. It was that right vibe of let's just talk about intent, discuss our ideas, all that sort of thing. And so I think that was really, really nice. Unfortunately, I really, really, really hate Burden of Trust. And what happened after turn 3 was I was sitting pretty on 6 primary points, but
That's not many, Chris.
he was sitting even prettier on 4 primary points.
Oh, mate.
And because he had bottom of turn, it meant he got to choose a secret mission, and I didn't. And he did exactly the right thing, which is what he's spoken to his teammates about, which was like he just really, it was quarters to point. He really kind of like bottled into that quarter and just only threw things out when he needed to. And the game basically boiled down to would he get his secret mission off? And he went for the battle line one, and I had a Terminator left. I had a Librarian left for his Assassinate, and I had my 5 strikes left. And he managed to kill the Librarian with a Dart Lance. He managed to kill the Terminator with a Mandrake Dev pistol, and my battle line strikes, which I'd hidden away in a corner. I'd totally forgotten that middle Venom with 5 witches also had Lilith in. And go really far thing. He kept doing that thing of moving, spending the CP, being 9 inches away, getting out. So he's now 6 inches away. And then obviously Lilith came in, and
Grey Knights hate this one simple trick.
they do. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. Like I felt pretty miserable after that game. Like Jason was like, I got really lucky. And yeah, you can take a look and go, yeah, there were various instances where stuff happened that shouldn't necessarily have happened. But the reality was that game shouldn't have been that close because I should have shut down that secret mission better than I did. And I lost by 2. And that's on me.
Not to give anything away, but that was happening to me at exactly the same time that morning.
Yeah.
That's one that I think needs some very specific practice, that mission.
Yeah, I definitely didn't get it right. But yeah, I was just like, even like because I positioned my strikes so they couldn't get shot by dart lances, but hey, at least you got a better chance of surviving that than Lilith. I just forgotten about Lilith being in that boat, so that sucked.
Yeah, that's nasty.
So I like to pride myself on being able to kind of pick myself up and have that willpower and that determination to go again. I did not do that this time. I really struggled. I was so tired. I had an awful night's sleep. Not as bad as Lee Churchwood. Shout out to Lee Churchwood.
Yeah, who was killed by food poisoning, essentially.
Yeah,
poor guy.
Yeah, essentially he had to drop. But I had like an awful night's sleep, and I was just genuinely flagging. I didn't have any of that adrenaline. I was really flagging for loss. I played into Alex from Trash Wargaming. Really good player, actually. He just had also a really narrow loss in his last round. He was playing CSM, and he just did the CSM thing, which was run at me. And
how dare you? It's an army for sophisticates.
I guess you split this game into 2 key parts. The first one was Well, apart from 2 Dread Knights failing to kill a fucking rhino, that was annoying. But other than that, he kind of sent some stuff forward to my natural expansion objective. And I was like, right, so I kill the rhino, I finish it off. I kill the legionnaires, I kill the 2 units of Trojan with my whole army, basically. And he doesn't have any real ability to hurt me left, barring like this one Vindicator, because the other one was kind of out of play. And then the librarian, in his infinite wisdom, decided to roll a 1 and didn't finish off that rhino, and then things capitulated from there. And at about halfway stage, I was like, well, I've lost this game. And I wasn't just, if this had been like Saturday morning, I would have been like, bam, 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 like, yeah, let's work this out. And I just couldn't, it was all muddy in my head. I couldn't focus on the maths. And actually, it ended up really close in the end, even though I'd basically written off the game. He just scored secondaries way better than me. Primary was the thing I was actually down on, but I managed to pull that back. I managed to get back into the game, but I just wasn't scoring my cards, and Alex was. But fair play to Alex. Like, he tried really hard with his screening. He was very thorough with various things. He played it really well, and just played better on the day, really, which is how that CSM Grey Knight matchup often works out.
We've had it be very, very tight, right? It's
It is
a really brutal game.
Plays it better. Maybe there's the odd thing that happens which can affect it, but generally it's whoever plays it better on the day. And Alex played it better on the day. So I did 2-3, which is my worst tournament performance in 2 years since that was also LGT. So that was nice. So yeah, basically I feel shit about myself. The whole channel's being closed down. I've shut my army in the bin. Good night.
Oh man, yeah. I think it's a brutal close game. Grey Knight. I mean, we've talked about this before. Grey Knights are one of those armies where their superpower is how close they keep games, but you never actually know exactly what side of the game they can come out on, right? And they can definitely end up on the wrong side. And in singles, that can feel very rough. And in Pariah in particular, it's been very, very, very difficult. And so I wanted to shout. There's a bunch of shout outs to do before we move on. We've got a bunch of people invading from close order, so thank you very much. Nice to have Lewis and Ed and some of their followers in. Lots of love to the close order gang, and it is worth shouting them out because Lewis, as always, just proved himself devastating at Warhammer and smashed a bunch of people at his first Old World event. And Ed also had a fantastic run, drawing with James Ramsey, who's currently skulking around in Old World, kicking seals. But Ed drew with him, and also I believe that Ed won best overall, which is obviously the most 6++ prize you can win. So we're incredibly proud of Ed. It was really cool to see them so excited about their community. Oh yeah, we're proud of you too, Ed.
We're not, Ed.
Yeah.
Oh, none of
that.
None of that. We've also got Disgustingly Resilient podcast in. Lovely to have you here, Aidan. Well done. I think you took home top death card as is well deserved. And then we've got Sam Dunn did manage to win on Burden by going first, putting the pressure on. And Riley is in the chat shouting out Chris, saying he was very fortunate to go second. Yes, so I'm just about to get to it, but I played my teammate Franco in that round, and his eyes when he went second were just like, yes, it's a good time on Burden going second. And instruction from my teammate Greg Chamberlain and tutoring from me about how to play Drakari.
I've been watching
Hey, well, there we go. And I famously have beaten Grey Knights once or twice with Drakari. Harley, if you're listening, hi. Nice to see you. Hope you're well. So yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, if he's learned from our content, you never had a prayer, Chris. So I think you can hold your head high there.
It's true.
What are you feeling coming out of this? Where are you feeling? Are you feeling persist with Grey Knights? Obviously, they are still an incredible teams option.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. So obviously, as I said before, I've got baby on the way in literally like 3 weeks' time. So my tournament play time is about to vanish. I've got November ITT.
Miss away.
Exactly. I've got first sigil, but one. I've got November ITT. And I'll have February ITT. So I've just got basically those are the 2 events that I'm planning on doing. Maybe I'll do like a odd RTT or whatever, but it's not going to be a intense time of Warhammer. So I will be sticking with the Grey Knights, and I just need to build a better list. I'm actually thinking of going down the route of having spoken to Dave, our very own Dave Murdoch, about it, and it's been something I've been considering. Is just going down the fixed plan. If you build a list which just goes and scores established locus and behind enemy lines, every turn. So you take a first to the fray unit, 3-inch deep strike down, turn 1, boom, take your points. Turn 2,
Yep.
boom, take your points. And obviously, if they have 5 infiltrators on quarter deployment, then you might be a bit fucked and you have to pay tactical. But other than that, I think in a lot of matchups, especially with teams where you can just avoid the infiltrators or the
A
armies,
navigator as an ally.
the navigator, exactly. But other than that, I think that's a really good list. But yeah, I think as I said, I took too much of a finesse army, and I just have played nowhere near enough recently. And I'm just against the various matchups, so I didn't get it right. So I think I'll go for a more general list in the future.
No. We don't want to lose sight of the fact you did beat one of the invitational contestants for the first round. So I think the game in general, this is something I think a lot of us felt, and I was talking to a lot of people. The game in general is so competitive right now in terms of the distance between the armies is really close. The missions are very tough and brutal. It can be really fine margins, and also everyone is leveling up very aggressively as players all the time. So I just think it happens, man. Really well done, regardless. And you did preside over a massive, huge event for your team and the community and everything else as well, and managed to get us all through that in one piece. So,
but we got the photo done. That was the
we got the photo done. Yeah.
I was only there by chance. Tom saw me. He was like, "Come!"
Yeah, I literally grabbed him on the way, and that tells you everything you need to know about where me and Ed sit on the team in terms of organisation. I just remember it. I then grab Ed on the way, and we both between us somehow just about managed to be involved.
Yeah.
And that's about where we're at. So over in GSC land, I was taking an Outlander claw list, which actually we had worked on in the run-up to WTC as a potential option for Team England to take before they decided to take Votan. And this was a list that is very much inspired by the Australian GSC mastermind Eric Lathuris. And a version of this has been being run and very successfully run by Innes Wilson over the last few weeks as well. You may have seen it, but Innes's version is lame because it's really good and it doesn't have... And I don't like that. So I made it worse by taking it closer towards the version that me and Alex Harrison had been prepping for WTC, which was... This has more of a combat threat in it. It's got lots of trucks, lots of idiots, but it also has this lovely big death brick of hybrid metamorphs who are really tasty. I like having a killy death brick in the unit. It's a very good, obnoxious unit. And that's the main gist of it in terms of giving you just a combat punch to complement it. And also I take more mining lasers because I find if you're relying on ridge runners, they will let you down. They will also sometimes give you incredible results, as we'll get to in a moment. So round 1, I played the lovely Charlie. Now, this was full Kroot hunting pack with 18 Krutox rampages. And when I got to the table, it transpired that Charlie and his mates that week or the week before had a bet. And whoever lost had to buy, build, and paint an entire new army for the LGT. And I don't know whether it had to be Kroot. I think it had to be weird. But Charlie had lost. And he had built and prepared this Kroot hunting pack list in a week. He was having a great time with it. He really enjoyed it in his couple of practice games he'd had, but he was very green with it. And the funny thing with that list is, on Terraform, if it goes first, there's definitely a world in which it just runs me over because I can't get past all the Krutox in time, and he terraforms the entire middle, and then he just sort of styles it out from there. As it is, he didn't go first. We both sort of looked at each other like, okay. And then my trucks all rode forward and just burned all the Kroot to death. So it was a bit sad in practice. It would have been a much more interesting game had Charlie gone first. But Charlie was a really tenacious opponent, really fun and chatty and chirpy as well. And I wish him all the best. And I think he should persist with the Kroot. I'd have a look at James Marsden's Kroot hunting pack list if you want some ideas on where you could take it, because he was slaying with that. And there's actually very genuine play in the detachment. You just need to work a few little Tau extras in, I think. Unfortunately, it's not for the purists. So that was a big win for the old GSC, and that was a nice warm-up. List was very much working as hoped. Then in round 2, I got the boogeyman of a few weeks ago, who aren't really a boogeyman anymore, but are to me, and that's the Blood Angels. And so I was drawn against a pretty sort of mixed arms Blood Angels list piloted by Nikolai. And Nikolai was really lovely, really fun guy. We had a lot of fun. He did put me on the clock at the start. And anyone who knows me knows that if I get put on the clock, my hackles get up a little bit and I get a bit quick and snappy for a bit. But once we settled into the game, we had a really good time. And he had sort of, Death Company, some JPIs and Sangard and all the usual sort of flying jump pack stuff, but he also had a Brutalis and a Vindicator. Now the Vindicator got blown up real quick because I went first, I think. No, I was on first or second? No, I was on second because it was Purge the Foe, which helped me a lot because I hate Purge the Foe. But we got through most of the sort of outer layers of this list, and mining lasers were doing a lot of work into Sangard and things like that. But then a Brutalis decided to just not die and go on a hero run through the middle, and it all got incredibly scary. Nikolai played it really well. He had Inceptors coming in, and I think it ended 90-85 to me. So that was a phenomenal game. Really, really hard fought. And I really enjoyed hanging out with Nikolai, and I hope we get to play it again because he was an absolute gent. And then we had Blood Angels again. So someone in the chat was asking what was the running theme of the armies. Quick melee or teleporting shooting or really, really quick shooting, I think, were the general themes. If you have followed any of our content about UKTC, you will know that's what works. That's how it goes. Possibly even more so than normal. So I was drawn against Ludovico. He was on Blood Angels, and he had my least favourite Blood Angel unit, which was the Van Vet Brit with a Sang Priest. So it's got a 5-up Feel No Pain. It's incredibly chewy. He had 2 of those. And Ludovico played the tempo of the game super well on Taken Hold. Basically just kept it very tight, kept hidden away, waited till about turn 3, which is when my stuff doesn't resurrect as effectively, then pushed out, did a lot of violence. I did a lot of violence back, but I wasn't able to push him off the objectives. He was able to lock down his side, deny me just enough, and push home. I think it was about 90-76 or something like that at the end. So very, very well played, Ludovico. Very, very good game. And then we had our social, and it emerged at the social. Oh my goodness, Steve, who gave me the wine gums, is in the chat. I'm going to shout you out, Steve. So Steve, you were one of the best people. Steve, I was frazzled by round 3, and I had been playing with my right-hand side being where all my stuff was all day, and then suddenly I was on this table where it was all on the left, and I'm a creature of habit. So what I kept doing was putting all my shit on Steve's stuff, basically, and just putting all these models on Steve's bit of the table. I was getting really frazzled. The game was really tough and difficult as well, so I was just my brain was not on. And Steve was very nice and gave me crisps and wine gums and generally kept my morale up. So I appreciate you, Steve. You're a lovely man. Really, really nice.
Sometimes, don't you, Tom?
I need a parent basically 24/7. I'm useless. But I really appreciated the support. So thank you very much, Steve. Gurukama got Sisters round 3 and 4, which was tough. Yeah, Sisters are brutal. I had thought a lot about Sisters and didn't play them. This is always how it goes, right? You never know what you're going to hit. But shout out to my mentee, Patrick, who played Sisters 3 times and then played 18 Bulgrin to finish. What an awful, awful, awful run. That's honestly, of all the people in the world, Patrick deserves that at least less than anyone.
Like,
he's
just the narrative
such a nice guy. Actually, might have to look at that for next time. He deserves better than this. Deserves better than this shit. So we found out during the evening at the social that I was going to play my teammate, Franco McDonald, the true Demon Lord. If you haven't checked out his YouTube, you probably should, because there is no better demon-based content out there. He does a whole bunch of YouTube-based stuff. And he also has Byron Saidu on there and Luke Townsend, a bunch of some of the UK's best demons players. Really, really good content. And Franco has played demons for as long as I have known him. He is an absolute expert and true lover of the faction, right? We used to play locally all the time, but we haven't played in years. So I was very excited because I knew I'd get to play Franco. I was also daunted because Demons is horrible. I hate it. All that AP going to waste just makes me so sad. But we played, it was Burden and Trust, and it was the exact same tempo situation that you described, Chris, where he was on second. He played the primary very carefully. And what I've learned and sort of analysed thinking about it afterwards is that Burden simply, you get such peanuts for the effort you make trying to get primary and Burden that whoever's in a position to push for a secret mission, swing back in the end game, has a great advantage, right? Because your chances pushing out of getting up a decent head of steam on Burden are so low with the way that mission and setup on UKTC works. Franco played this to perfection. He has this beautiful list where he's got Be'lakor and 10 Plague Bearers dropping in late game. So you don't know which one he's going for. Is Be'lakor going to nab the back objective? Is it just having the Plague Bearers in your deployment zone? You're trying to kind of second guess and deal with both of those. And Franco pulled off the secret mission and won 80-something, 70-something. Really, really good game. And it was just such a nice time playing him. It was one of those fun games. We both know exactly what the other one's thinking, what the other one's trying to do. Really, really lovely. And he, I believe, fingers crossed, has taken top Chaos Demons, which couldn't be more deserved. So very well, Franco. Very well done, Franco, wherever you are. Very, very proud of you, as always. So I'm 2-2 at this point. The dream is dead. My dream is a 4-1 dream. Different people have different dreams. And then I'm drawn into Nicolas Lapierre, who is a Belgian international player. He was coaching with Belgium last year, been very heavily involved in their team. And he's on World Eaters. And I'm very much in a fuck it mood by this point. So I'm like, I'm gonna deploy as if I'm gonna go first here. And then if I do go first, I'm gonna bully the ever living shit out of the World Eaters. And if I don't, we'll see about it from there. And I literally, in a moment of massive disrespect, he's got his big bundle of stuff deployed ready to push out with the scout move. I just put the Saboteur in front of it. So she's like, no one's scouting. And then when I go first, she walks through the terrain into this big bundle of 8-bound and starts chucking demo charges and grenades at them and kills 3 8-bound on her own, at which point the 8-bound then try to leave their deployment. She sets her other bomb off, kills more 8-bound. It's really, really funny. And I think this particular board, the Scorched Earth board, I think on UKTC really favours good shooting angles on the sides. I had that. Obviously, the World Eaters didn't, and they had lost precious time for staging up and getting involved. And then this game goes from probably a narrow loss to Nicholas to a big loss when just 2 Ridge Runners just kill Angron on their own. just they roll 4 shots, they fire 4 shots, he fails 4 saves, he re-rolls a save, they kill Angron through his field of pain to the wound with just the las cannons. And you're like at this point it will be really, really hard for Nicholas to get back involved.
How's that happen?
And so it kind of wound down from that. I mean, Ridge Runners are swingy as hell, and I had a lot of frustrations with them this weekend, but they really did me proud in that game. But Nicholas was an absolute gent, played his heart out through a really difficult situation, and we had a really nice sort of. It was like a practice game at the end. We sat down and just chatted about the matchup and talked through all the different ins and outs of it and what we could each have done and different things. Nice. So credit to Belgium, and he's seeking me out for some TTS practice in the future. And that was me. So it was 3-2 with the GSC. I really enjoyed the army. I think it's great for teams. Definitely does have its predators. And I don't know. I think I'd like the Metro either melee one on UKTC like Danny Port was doing. I just think push melee is just so good on these boards that I'd like to have a bit more of it in the list than I did. So what was going on in the wonderful land of Ed Watts while all this nonsense was happening?
He lost a bet as well. Is that why you're playing the army, right?
What?
Before the tournament, yeah.
Yeah, did I lose a bet? I might have
No.
lost a bet.
No,
Sure.
I think you did it to yourself. There was no bet. Right, take us through it, Ed. Let's go.
All right, bet. So first game I almost lost. So that was great. So
Ed was playing Sisters, if you missed that.
Yeah, I was playing Sisters. So I was playing Sisters, the 2 Exorcists, 3 Castigators, the usual thing, and the Seraphim and Kane Catherine. So yeah, if you want to see the breakdown of that, I've got a video up, so just go watch that. So basically, the first game goes, all player goes first and goes, here's my entire army in the middle of the board. I was like, okay, I understand. Shot, didn't kill enough. Charged my entire army, like 90% of my stuff's tagged, and I was like, yeah, this is game, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. And then I managed to fight my way out of it and dig myself out of the tagging situation. And then won by overwatching, I think it was 2 Orc Boys, a War Boss, and a Knob with an Exorcist. Killed them all. So I got 3 hits from the Exorcist. 3 hits from the Exorcist, used a 6. So 4 hits, killed the Orc, killed the Knob. 6 damage on the War Boss. Fails his 5 pin burn. Rerolls his 5 pin burn. Fails his 5 pin burn. Rolls a 6 Feel the Pains. Fails it. Loses established locus and engage. And I win by 4 points. And there's other stuff that happened previous to that. Like that made it even more ludicrous, but yeah, that's what makes it.
5-inch charges, and you get that.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good.
It was great. It was just pure skill, Scrivo. You know, it's great. So that was the first game. By the way, yeah, I did. And shout out to Tom, by the way, the lad I played. He's a friend of Murph's, because I'm glad that I know, and they're both great. So that was a great game. And
he's in the chat. He's in the chat.
Oh, is he?
The player in question, this turn of events will haunt us. we were actually, plus till dawn, we were actually talking about it at lunch, and I was like, I would actually go outside and start smashing cars. I think
Yeah.
if I'd been through that, I think that it's the there's fake dice being involved always makes it worse before you've even started. But there's a bunch of other stuff in there as well, and it's just that's heartbreaking. So it sounds like you played a really good game.
Well, there was other wild stuff that happened as well. Like I remember there was like 3 or 4 things tonight. I get all in my favor, right? All in my favor, not in his favor, all in my favor. But yeah, it was absolutely great playing there. Tom's a great laugh. So that was the first one. Second one, what did I play? I should have taken notes, shouldn't I? So
he says an hour in.
Yeah. So I played Orcs, and then I played against.
If you want, I can look it up for you, mate.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that at the exact same time. Let's race. I had it all remembered, and then we spoke about something amazing, and I forgot immediately.
I fully understand. I do understand. You actually in round
then went into a legendary Imperial Agents player.
Our very own Alex Chutz.
How could I forget? We had a Pluse, like on round 2, which was we don't like 6+ pairing a 6++ this early on because we don't want that. But Alex basically looked at the sisters, looked at his own list, and went, "Yeah, this is gonna get run over." I was like, "Yeah, maybe." But then I just wanted to see what the Imperial Agents did, so I just bimbled around, shot some stuff, blah blah blah. And they do have some cool tricks. So in teams, I can see that there's an argument for them. But yeah, that was a great game. Shout out to Alex, he was awesome. And I killed Canis Rex. Yay! I just didn't have enough melters. And then the next game, this one was I remember this one. This one will also haunt me. Because this is another ghost. Yeah. This one will also haunt me because I got insanely lucky to win again. I think it wasn't. I basically shot like wait, was it a multi-melt Overwatched and killed a Gleeman Russ, which was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I was like,
sorry, wait, what?
Yeah. He was on 8 wounds, but I was like,
okay.
I was like, got that one, and then I managed to kill Bulgrin, which I didn't.
18 of them.
No, it was 15 or 18. It might have been 18. But yeah, there was lots. There was lots of Bulgrin. Managed to kill all the Bulgrin with pure skill and no luck, obviously. That was just all just him not rolling. Basically, I'll be honest with you. I think I did like 5 saves on the Bulgrin at one point. He failed like 4 of them, and with an Exorcist, and an Exorcist killed 4. Do the Philip Pain and -1 damage. I was like, yay! So that was fun. But Imperial Guard, just a tough game in general.
Yeah.
But it was the breakdown of it was basically. Can I sit on circles while move blocking Bulgrin and killing tanks? And in that game, I could, because I killed the Lehman Rust on turn 3 with indirect, which really helped because that was the Lehman Rust that was going to be pushing for angles where my Seraphim were. And I was like, I said I don't think you can escape the angle from the battle cannon. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And he's like, so basically, so I can move forward and shoot you this turn. So unless I kill you with indirect, he's like, well, he hasn't taken damage yet. I was like, that's true, but I've just got to try my luck, right? And I shot and managed to kill it, which was great. A lot of this, by the way, is going to be me rolling Exorcists and winning games because of them, because that's basically how I got through most of these games.
Number 4 in the UKTC, everyone.
Indirect.
Shoot indirect.
Yeah, indirect.
They fixed it, guys. They fixed it.
Indeed. And then we go on to round 4. So this is a very loose and quick breakdown, by the way, guys, but I'll be honest, sisters are just dumb and shoot things. So, I don't think... so that's basically what happened. But the next one is the one I want to talk about the most. This is why I set some time aside for it. So I played Alex Fowler with his T-Sons in round 4, Burden of Trust. Now I went first. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I have to push it in. So I pushed it in, put the pressure on. I managed to score 20 primary going first, which I think is not bad. Not bad. He says he's doing a secret mission. Totally. So we go into battle round 4, and I'm just stressing. I'm like, what is a secret mission? Because he could literally do any of them. He could choose any of them, and he could just do them. It's like, because he's killing tanks relatively well. I'm not killing rubrics very well. The Castigators weren't killing units of 5 rubrics. And I wasn't killing what I really wanted to, which obviously put me on the back foot, which means his secondary play is a lot easier. Then on my turn 5, I have a bit of a brainwave. I'm like, wait, it's impossible for Magnus to get to the objective. And he wouldn't choose all 3 in the middle on round 3 because he wasn't in a position to do so. He was at this point because he had a really good turn where Magnus made like a 9-inch charge or an 8-inch charge, something like that. Charged into A castigator killed it and stopped 6 primary. Then immediately made a charge on the other side, went over, got onto the primary, stopped that primary. So it denied 12 primary from me because they've both been guarded, which was upsetting but fair. So that happened. And then I was like, wait, the only one that he's going to... And I looked at it, I was like, I have no battle line. Obviously, he's going to choose the battle line one. He can pick up and come down and then double move them in. Oh, okay, I can stop that. So I screen out my deployment zone, but I miss a little gap, like in the middle of the board. So Alex is like, you missed this gap. I'm like, fair enough. I did miss that gap. That's cool. And then he draws Mark for Death and Gauge or something. I don't know what the card was, but the main one was, no, it was established because he could get 2 points, 7 points for the win. So he put Mark for Death. I was like, I can't stop him from getting Mark for Death, but I can stop his secret mission. Because at this point, I was like, if I stop his secret mission, maybe I can pull out the counter win or something. I don't know. We'll see. And so I chose a Dialogus. And he's like, oh, but I can move Magnus over here, put my wing over, see him, and then shoot him. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, mate. No worries. And he's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, no worries. That's fine. Because I had a unit of 5, the gap that I missed that was in the middle, I had a unit of 5 of the Dominions that reactive move. So if he moves to shoot the Dialogus for Mark for Death, they reactive move. So he moved over and was like, so he puts his wing over so he can shoot the Dialogus. I'm like, cool. You're within 9 of the Dominions. I can reactive move. And he was like, fair enough. That was clever. So I roll the dice, roll a 4, block it out so he doesn't get the secret mission. So at this point, I'm like, okay, now he has to kill a Dialogus with Magnus to win. And he did, obviously. Clearly. But I felt good that I stopped the secret mission on Burden of Trust. So I
That's the moral of that story. Okay.
I like that. I really like that.
Who's the real winner here?
Yeah.
But Alex played really well. He played really well.
I mean, that's a very interesting. I felt like secret missions in some of those close games, especially Burden, were huge.
It took all my brain power to stop it because I was like, I might miss a gap here or there, but maybe with a reactive move, I can do something. If he has to come in
teams, that's a big differential stop, right?
Oh yeah, it turns into a 10-10. So that was what it was.
Do you think you could win that game in hindsight if you played it differently?
Yes, I think if I play it differently, I don't know. I can't sit on the objectives with castigators and stay out of charge range. So I was trying to work it out afterwards. And I was like, he has a 16-inch move, and I don't have enough trash in the list to move block Magnus. Like if I had like a couple more, like I don't know, Zephyrin or something like that, just to like move block in the middle or something like that.
Some speedy melee and some of these big Rings of Flame lists would go a long way, I think.
Yeah, I also think having 2 units of 5 Seraphim, which is what Vic did, instead of 2 units of 10 would have been good. It's just, there's a few things I would have done differently at the list writing stage, which could have given me a lot better chance into that game.
And also, Will Whitaker got the furthest, right? And that was Penitent Host. I think his was the deepest run with Sisters.
Yeah, and the only thing that I'd say is I think I did shoot. I basically shot the Exorcist wrong turn 1 because I shot everything to Magnus. I did get 1 through, which was fine, but then after that it's like blank 2 rerolls. And Exorcist will do an average of 3 or 4 wounds, so it's likely that you won't actually get any through. So that was the wrong thing to do. I should have just shot. I should have just shot rubrics from the off and just try to shoot them. Because also I didn't think about the secret mission to get battle line into the deployment zone until turn 5. Till turn 5. I managed to block it still by pure, jank. But I didn't think about it till turn 5. If I thought about that from turn 1, Exorcist would have been just popping from days. Just popping from turn 1. Because I could stop the Magnus.
You mentioned it because I used a Kellerwolf to block Franco in the same way when he accidentally triggered it, and then he was like, "I didn't mean to do that," and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna undo it." And then luckily we found out he could have got in the other side anyway, so it didn't matter. But you have to use that shit, right? You got to find those little bits of movement.
The thing is, it was at the stage where you're playing for they're playing for the 5-0, and also I got Overwatch at one point where I was like, "Oh shit, forgot about that. That's fine." It's one of those situations where it's like, and also it was the fact that it was clearly bait. It's clearly bait, So goes over, shoots the thing, and even Alex was like, "Oh, that's quite clever." Oh look,
yeah. Well, he's got some in-game thoughts. Push the tanks, and he can't kill them. But that's been my experience with Bringers of the Flame most of the time.
So I pushed, I think, a turn too late. I think not pushing turn 1 was fine because I just give you free assets and you could double move Magnus and kill stuff for free. But I think the turn that I pushed out the Seraphim, I should have just done that on turn 2. That's what I should have done. And then I move block everything and then all the tanks go out. But I also one-tapped Ironman with an Exorcist.
Of course you did. Of course you did. You know what I meant.
With 2 rerolls, blah, blah, And oh yeah, that was it. So I killed an Exorcist because it started out really well because I killed Araman and then an Exorcist shot Magnus and one went through, which is super unlikely. Super unlikely. But yeah, very well played. Very well played. It was a good game. It was a good game.
Excellent. And what was your final round?
My final round was into 5 Catans. So
I
was just like, I'm gonna lose. No.
Yeah, I remember you were like,
no!
I think I might go home. I was like 5 Catan. I was like, Ed, you will kill the 5 Catan. Go and play the 5 Catan.
I wasn't going home. I wasn't going home because of the parent. I was going home because I could have played D&D. Because I was like,
I know.
Yeah. I want to establish that for any of you people judging me.
We'll judge you because of the D&D then.
Oh, that's fine. But then the D&D wasn't on, so I was like, I'll play my last game then. And it turns out, I can kill 5 Catan pretty comfortably. Like it was
really good with them. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it was insane. And so we won that one, and then that was the end of my run. The dream was dead after round 4, but it was an absolutely fantastic game. So Alex still chatting about it. Yeah, mate, it was an amazing game. It was one of my favorite games over the weekend as well. It was tight. It was a couple of interactions that could have gone my way, even if they fail one of the charges, that then becomes a draw, and that's interesting. And yeah, I think there was one mistake I made with not blocking the Mutalift for a turn as well. That was a mistake. Should have done that, but I don't know if I could get there or not. But I'm gonna chalk it up as a mistake and move on. Yeah, that's my run. It was fun. It was
how are you feeling about Sisters coming off the back of the event? Then?
Basically, they are a bit nuts, right? Because it's just because the interactions that they have into players that don't have the tools to deal with them or know how to play around them.
Yeah,
they're a bit oppressive, right?
Yeah,
but in terms of like top players versus top players, they can be beaten by a few lists. So like, I don't think they are anywhere near as bad as people make them out to be. They are bad, and they do need some rules tweaks, and they do need some nerfs, 100%. Because a few armies do, right? Just to bring them in line with everyone else. But the game's in a really healthy spot right now, and I think they don't need gutting, which is what some people say.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that Bringers of Flame build, because on UKTC combat is having a great time right now, and combat units that can stage and push out having a great time. Bringers of Flame doesn't really have that. I think that is potentially why it wasn't making those final rounds when a bunch of armies with good melee were.
I think that could be definitely a contributing factor, but I also think one of the main reasons. Look at where like the top Sisters players were taken out. Like you want to say top Sisters players? Well, me and Vic were both taken out on the same mission, going first on Burn and Thrust.
Yeah.
These things happen, and then Jack got hit by a stat check. Like basically, there's a few lists in the game that can either stat check Sisters, go, I'm going to run at you, and I'm going to roll the 4-ups and tag your army. Because Sisters are super susceptible to being tagged, especially with that. With that list. It's why Brian Zorks beat them a few times, I think. He played Sisters a couple times over the weekend. And he just pushed at them, lived, then pushed them again. And that's how you beat them, because that's been pretty consistent for Brian as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there are definitely ways around them, which leads me to think they're not as bad as people say they are. I think in the Leader 12 GT, everyone thought they were broken as fuck. And they are. Technically, they are, but not as bad as people said they were.
I think intent, the standards are different, right? At this stage, like there's just not the same margins. Shout out to Aiden in the chat who got run over by James Marsden's Kroot J. I think that's it. Very aggressive, pushy combat armies can get into Sisters, and that was their main issue at the weekend.
Absolutely, that'll do it. And it's just there's a few lists like that'll just do it and tag your pure army and all that sort of thing. Like Josie's Jackals, if he went first against me, terrified. They'd be awful. Like you kill them really well, but like. If you don't kill like 100 Jackals, like what do you do? So yeah, I think that was my run over the weekend, and it was really fun.
And it was the best of our boys here, so really well done. And obviously, hopefully, we're all limbered up on some armies that will be useful for us at ITT in the near future. So that was the main thing, really, wasn't it? Get some stuff.
I've got some reps in Sisters, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Dank Sabotka in the chat. It says James was my final game too. I play Nids, and he just ran me over with 1,000 Kroot. Yeah, James is one of the very best players I know. He's been pissing about with Kroot for months. He is very, very good with Kroot. I think he only lost one. Kroot is a very legit detachment played a very particular way, so it's worth paying attention to that list. It's one of a few that I think we'll see some replicants of. It's low-key very, very good. I hope you like dying and winning the game, because that's what you're going to need to do but it does it. Alrighty, so that was our LGT. It was amazing. It was a really, really good time. It was awesome seeing so many people we know. Thank you once again to everyone who said hello. We're going to do some podcast questions now. Please do hit that like and subscribe. Please do leave us a comment. Obviously, we had a couple of people sign up as members tonight. If you want to sign up and be a member, go to YouTube, click membership, get signed up on there, help support all the lovely work we do. Keep the content train rolling. That would be really, really appreciated. Okay, so what was going on in podcast questions? I think they were noisy this week. They had opinions. They wanted to know things. Sometimes they're quiet, not so this week. So let's go. Let's try and work it out. So, Bloodrender asks, with this being the end of the UKTC season, what are everyone's plans / goals for next season? And this is quite accusatory because Alex is in our team. Where are we looking to move as a team over the next year? Chris, do you want to field that one?
Oh, yeah. Pressure. Yeah, I think it's been. I think we probably will have an end of season recap at some point. But it's been a really successful year for the team. Obviously, there are different facets to us in terms. We've got the YouTube side, but we've also got the team playing side. We've had a lot of new recruits this year who've really contributed a lot. And I think in terms of the team itself, we've been quite consistent in that. I think it's like that 7 to 8 placed team in like the country. I think the goal's got to be next season top 5. I think we've definitely got the level of players that can achieve that at the top end. And it does take a little bit of luck to get good results at those sort of big majors. But we've got enough players who are playing at a high enough level and going to all the events. I think it will happen at some point. We've got more and more players who are trying to get involved in like the international side of the setup and that sort of thing. We're certainly in a place now where we're taking the team tournaments seriously and we're preparing really well for those, and we're proving to ourselves that we can compete with a lot of the teams. And I know that the top teams, some of the top teams anyway, are also preparing for us before events and doing matrices for our lists and that sort of thing. So that feels good for us, right? So yeah, as a team, the goal will be trying to achieve that. In terms of space points, it'll be to try and hit that top 5 in the country.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And it'd be cool. We had a few people, writing amongst it for best in faction, and that's always nice. We always try and see where we end up with that. And I think, with space points are always a bit secondary for us anyway. I think the main things, we'd love to have some good runs at the ITTs. Those are so exciting now. They're so regular. We really enjoy those. I think those are one of the most exciting events. One of the most exciting events that we do. So pushing hard at those would be great. And we'll, the rankings will all follow on, as Chris says. Will Steal Your Jeans asks, how were the toilets?
Fucking rank, man.
Yeah, they were horrible.
Like in the morning, I got there and I've been driving for like 2 hours. I really need a pee. Just go in, and you just get hit by this like fucking smog. Like it's so hot in there, and it's just like, and there's just this queue for this one cubicle as everyone's going to void their bowels in the morning, and it's just. Oh, I wasn't the one, man. Toilet Plus Plus was a solid 2 out of 10. But I do know some people were using other toilets. Some people were just nipping down the road to go to
some of these narrative TOs had access to cushy extra toilets that no one told us about.
But Danny Paul was saying he went to the cinema toilet.
Yeah, he did. There's a cinema down the road.
30 seconds away. And he was just going in there. I was like, fair play, mate. Fair play.
Game respects game.
Yeah, absolutely. We then have a question from Iniquity, which is Adam Gawley asking, has LGT inspired you to start a new army or pick up an old project? Seeing so many pretty armies and a large variety of armies at the top tables would have tempted me to start something new.
It's inspired me to not do sisters. I lost the game, Scribbo. They're dead to me. To be honest, I kind of like orcs. Oh, sorry, I kind of like orcs.
Mate, I was going to... so that's not a new project for me because I have a bunch of orcs I've got. But, I mean, watching Brian's orcs just crushing across the board like that. Yeah,
it was mainly Busk Till Dawn. His orc army looked amazing. Looked amazing. He had like a pirate ship. Like he had a looted raider, which all of his flash hits went in.
So good.
It looked amazing.
That's so cool.
I think the interesting one is there was one big weakness we all found in the old Bully Boys list. that it could get move blocks. And
Yeah.
what does his list do?
It runs through move blocks. It's incredible.
And I was literally like,
those new mechs.
that was in front of us the whole time. I was like, I feel so stupid not spotting that.
And it's just, because we were watching the final, and Harley in the chat was like, Brian doesn't have much stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look like much stuff now. It looks like a lot of stuff in about 10 minutes time. And then it just goes boom, and it's all over the board. It's beautiful. And obviously, as we saw in the final, it can come undone. It has to really get it done in those big moments. Or it can collapse. But I think it's very promising for an army that will surely get buffed to see that there is actually ways to play it and play it to a high standard. And it just looked amazing. So yeah, Orcs definitely. I'm gonna say I'm gonna double down on what I'm doing though, Adam. I've got to try and not get too much distraction this year. So I've had a lot of fun with the GSC. I think if anything, it's inspired me to branch out and try some of the other detachments and try and see if there's a version in there that suits me a bit more. I did enjoy Outlander, but I really dislike the sort of tiny chip output damage. I like to have some big swings and some big damage in the list, and I'd like some GSC builds that have more by way of a proper put you away if you get too near me. Didn't like people feeling like they could push at me, even though they were sometimes radically wrong. I still don't like people thinking that's what they're going to do. I need to put the fear of God into them a little bit. But still, Don says he's painting that awesome new mech right now. Oh God, we're going to see that list everywhere now.
Yes,
we're going to have 20 mans flying out of wagons everywhere we look. I mean, I'm really here for it in a great many ways. I think it's very exciting. What
We're going to become
I
an
practiced against Brian with that list, and the Kellamorph battle shocked his 20 man as it was running out, which he was just like, well, that's ruined everything I'm trying to do. I mean, he still put me firmly away, but it wasn't the 20 it probably should have been. So shout out to Brian. I mean, I'm so proud of Brian for once again just demonstrating how good a player he is, getting all the way there with an army that nobody backed at all. It's so cool. Slops. Oh, there's some talk about Tyranids. I don't think that's a question. Well done, Slops, as always. Just chatting nonsense in the questions. Then there's a lot of toilet questions, a lot of toilet-related stuff. And finally, Ultimate Funk asks, how far and from what height does Chris want to throw his Grey Knights?
They're already in the bin, mate. No. As I said, I'll be sticking with them. Just because if I want to do well at teams, I'm not going to have as much chance to prep and practice with a baby, so I'll need to play an army I want. But I am going to start painting my World Eaters back up again. I got about halfway through them, and I just, the Grey Knights, I love the jank. I love the moving around and being a bit finessey, but I also want to. They don't really kill much, and I'd quite like to punch some things in the face.
You've got the call to damage, I understand.
I've missed it. So I would quite like to actually be able to kill some things. So I'll try and get. Apparently, babies don't sleep very well. Rumors have it. So I'll probably get quite a lot of painting time in the evenings. And then obviously at some point next year, the Eldari book will drop, and
will it?
And it'll be rubbish.
Detachment.
It's going to be the single most balanced book that's ever come out. I promise
you. But I'll be able to play my Harlequins again, or Yanari, one of those, because I used to was playing 9th. So hopefully I'll be able to do that.
I can't wait until Eldar become the top have 60% win rate, and Chris becomes an Eldar main again. It's going to be great.
It is the dream, my friends.
Pickleax in the chat's very excited for that as well. I'm keen to play some Eldar as well. I think it'll be good. It's going to be a good time.
Waiting for a Yanari detachment, a good.
It's worth
fun
Yanari detachment. If we're commenting on LGT in general, Eldar obviously completely absent from the top innings. No sign of them anywhere. They were not involved at any level in the sort of upper tiers. Drakari didn't really make it either. Obviously CSM had some good runs. GSC with Innis. Necrons did well. Orcs got up there. So there was a few spicy ones.
Grey Knights didn't. Grey Knights
didn't. Grey Knights absolutely didn't.
The top player was Marcus, who was the only one that went 4-1. Everyone else went 3-2 or 2-3 or worse. And Marcus was like 200 and something, I think he said. So, and that's with obviously a very heavy skew vehicle list. So it's proof that even though Grey Knights have got pretty good singles win rate, whatever it is, like 53% or something, they're a very good teams faction. They can keep games close. They can't.
They just can't control the variables enough, I don't. And the only of the janky armies, the only ones that made it up there were Demons and Hypocrite, where they've got a lot of punch to go with the jank, and they were there to.
And I can't wait for the other uppy downy army that we're getting that might have a melee punch to it.
Yeah, here come the Inceptors and the Sangard. Let's go. It's going to be a
Cannot-
time.
Yeah! I can't wait for this shit, boys.
It's going to be really fun.
Mr. DJ is definitely making an appearance. I don't want to see those Inceptors anywhere.
Yeah, no chance.
12
Yeah,
inches
Clamorous.
away,
I'd say next time I play Franco, I'm just going to have a Clamorous in my list and just say, no, stop it. Go and be somewhere else. You can't get in here.
Well, I'm really excited to use 18 Inceptors. I am, because that's a very fluffy list. They're going to be gold. They're going to be Sangard. They're going to have wings.
It's beautiful.
Great.
It's going to be great. I'm excited for you, mate.
Blood Angels main over here. Always have been. You know?
Yeah, always have.
Sure.
Always have.
Sure.
All right, everybody.
Gucci.
It's been an hour and a half show, so I think we'll call it there. But amazing to have so many of you in. Thank you so much for your support. It's been awesome. We had a great LGT. We'll be back again next time. We're going to talk about how you can go about mastering a new faction, which is something a few of us have experienced in recent times. And we're going to have the lovely Ben Pierce on for that. So we will see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.